that we had some problems with the live stream. So I had to get that going, or else one of our judges who got snowed in wasn't able to watch the pitch competition. So to begin with, Southeast College, Seth, and Rise acknowledge that we are located on traditional lands referred to as Treaty 4 territory, the original lands of the Cree, sorry, I'm from BC, Ojibwe, Saulteaux, Dakota, Nakota, Lakota, and the land of the homeland of the Métis Nation. We respect and honor the treaties that were made on all territories. We acknowledge the harms and mistakes of the past, and we are committed to moving forward to partnerships and Indigenous nations in the spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. Interesting story there. So I'm originally right from BC, so when I do land acknowledgement, I would say Saulteaux, I would say into Kathma and all that. So I'm still struggling with those names. So hopefully no disrespect. We're making history tonight. RISE, which is Seth's rural incubation program, tech incubation program. I've been saying this now for 2 or 3 years to people in the States and across Canada, and no one's corrected me. RISE is the only truly rural tech hub or tech incubation program in North America that I know of. And when I say truly, we don't just solve rural problems, we are in rural communities where we are run by rural people, Stephen and Heidi, and they've created rural programs. So tonight we've done pitches before, we've done 2 before, but this time it's special because all the people are pitching are people who've gone through the RISE program. So if you put those 2 together, this is the first time in history a rural tech incubator has put on a pitch competition for real money for $20,000. So I hope that we can grow this beyond Canada. But yeah, that's it. If you don't know who I am, I'm the executive director of Southeast Tech Hub, and that's all you'll see me tonight. I'll be hanging out in the back, and Stephen will be emceeing from now on. Come on up, Stephen.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Gord. Like he said, my name is Stephen Hansen. I'm the program director of RISE, along with Heidi Watson at the back. She's a program coordinator. Pretty much anything that looks good, Heidi did, so don't give me any credit for that. But it's been a real pleasure to work with these 5 companies, to watch them kind of grow and learn a bunch of things. And to be honest, I learned just as much from them as they learned from us. This is our first one, and I'm pretty excited with what we're doing here. I can't say it enough. I'm a rural founder myself with my company. I really find that rural founders are the people that they've solved their problems that they see in their day-to-day life while also working another job. They're doing these things in the evenings and the weekends, and it truly shows from the hard work that our entrepreneurs have done and what they've been able to accomplish. So I'm excited to see all these pitches, and I'm not going to get in the way any longer. So our first pitch tonight is Nikki. If you want to come up and we can get going.
Good evening. I'm so happy to be here tonight to share with you a story that is very near and dear to my heart. As a young girl, my fascination with horses shaped my childhood. And although I didn't grow up on a farm, I spent endless hours hanging over the fence of my neighbors watching them care for theirs. I was captivated by the partnership between horse and rider. As I grew, drawing and painting were my creative outlets. But discovering saddle making opened a whole new realm of creativity. The smell of leather and the feel of the tools in my hands, the satisfaction of finishing a piece became a lifelong passion for me. This passion grew into purpose and ultimately the foundation of Prestige Leather. My name is Nicole Kirby, and I'm the founder and creative force behind this business. Nearly 30 years ago, I completed my first saddle making apprenticeship. I've traveled across the globe to study under master leather workers. The most recent included a master leather worker from Beijing. Following that, I began to develop my own unique style, not merely stamping, but high relief embossing and elaborate figure carving. A very distinct artistry that's rarely seen in Canada. And due to that, my work has been featured in prominent magazines and juried art shows all across North America. Well, a little bit about us. In 2018, my husband and I built a leather shop in our yard to pursue this big dream of mine of saddle making on a full-time basis. Since then, I've completed 2 more additional apprenticeships, refining both my skill and production methods. We've opened a storefront as well as an online shopping platform. And in addition to that, we have attended prominent equine events and showcased in Western lifestyle shows across Canada and the US. So we can, oh, I missed that one. So we can, I'm gonna go one more, there we are, sorry about that. So we can frame the saddle market into 3 tiers. So on the left, you'll see there, that would be in the low end or mass-produced saddle line. That would include imported, synthetic, or low-grade leather. In the middle is a mid-market saddle, which identifies as functional with some craftsmanship, but limited designs available to you as the consumer. And finally, on the right-hand side is the high-end artisan and collection saddle, and that's our space. So we operate on the top tier as craftsmen of collection saddles and premium luxury goods, which is considered a very niche market. Whoops. So let's talk numbers. The Canadian equine industry contributes over 8.7 billion, that's billion, annually to Canada's gross domestic product. And so even at 12%, the tack and saddlery category remains at 1.04 billion. Now that's a strong number, big enough to matter, and yet small enough to dominate with the right positioning. That's right. And if we want to be even more specific, the saddle market in Canada. In 2025, the specific market for saddles in Canada was approximately 61.5 million USD. And that is expected to grow to 100 million USD by the year 2034. So from a market standpoint, skilled saddle makers are becoming increasingly scarce, while the demand for well-built Western saddles remains strong. And so now where that becomes a problem is a large portion of this product is imported into Canada. And I can count on one hand the number of production saddle companies that are actually presently manufacturing in Canada. So now our solution is that we pursue a dual line approach. We continue our collectible saddle line, and then we also launch a scalable production line, both driven by our same core craftsmanship. This allows us to simultaneously serve 3 markets: the working riders who rely on durable, trustworthy equipment, serious equestrians and competitors seeking professional grade with brand identity, and finally, the collectors who value premium luxury goods or what you would consider heirloom items. So, oh, I missed one. There we are. Why we stand apart from the rest. So Prestige Leather is ready to meet this demand with our new and innovative production and marketing capabilities. We have already invested in the infrastructure the commercial equipment coupled with specialized cutting equipment to cut out all the pieces and manufacture the mid-market production saddle line. All of that is already in place. We've established a strong brand identity and created contacts within the industry. We have deep technical expertise in creating the collector saddles and the luxury leather goods. So essentially, the people can purchase from us the actual physical product. They can shop online, and they can commission custom orders. I also offer one-on-one classes, or they can join in on a workshop. And we've also recently expanded our website to include digital downloads of recent patterns that I've built, and then they can create to their heart's desire. So today we are seeking $20,000 in funding to accelerate the launch of the first batch of our production saddle line. This capital will be deployed in two key areas: advancing product development, as well as focusing marketing to reach our target audience. It's been 28 years now since I first asked a local saddle maker to help me build a saddle and teach me about this art of saddle making. And at the time, he just laughed at me and he said, "Why don't we start with a belt?" So I started because I love the process of creating with my hands. And with the acquisition of our specialized equipment, it has invited me to dream even bigger. So I invite you to join me on this journey of creating and manufacturing right here in Saskatchewan, fostering jobs, sustaining rural growth, enhancing tourism in our beautiful province. And together we are creating something truly remarkable. I thank you for listening to my little story, and I'm open to any questions at this time.
Hello. Perfect. This is working. Just two questions, I guess. The first one I have is, do you know any idea like the total number of saddles you've sold over the years?
Oh, I would be at 7 now.
Gotcha.
I build collection saddles, and so those take about 6 weeks and are in a much higher price range than the mid-market saddle.
Okay. And then that was my next question. If I order a custom saddle, how long does that take to get to me?
If you were ordering in the mid-market, that would take us, with our new specialized equipment, just a matter of 2 days.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Increased
Very good
production.
presentation.
Thank you.
Yes, excellent. Very, very good. What disciplines are you targeting, or do you make saddles for? Like, there is different disciplines in the equine industry.
Correct. So all of our saddles are built on a foundation tree, but we'll be covering specifically trail saddle, but extending into barrel racing and team roping, because those are the disciplines that we practice, so we can understand the feel of those saddles.
Okay. And do you go to any of the events throughout Saskatchewan or other provinces that are held?
Yes, we do. My husband and I both rodeoed in our younger days, and we haul our children to high school rodeos.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that's all the questions I have. Do we have to turn it back up? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, sorry I couldn't make it in person. I just had to. I couldn't get away. I had to enjoy this great April Saskatchewan weather that we're having in Regina. Can everybody hear me okay? Sorry, guys.
Try again.
Where's that?
I don't know.
Hello, everybody. Sorry I couldn't make it in person. I'm just enjoying this great Saskatchewan weather in April. It came our way, so I just couldn't get away. I had to stick around town.
Can you guys hear anything?
But It's a great presentation. I was curious. I guess I'm still having a little trouble hearing me, judging my body language.
The contestant.
I can hear
You
you.
can hear? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Wes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Keep going.
I can't hear you.
So give a thumbs up or something.
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Up here.
Classic technical difficulties.
Okay, try that.
What percentage of the saddle market is custom
How about I read
like
it?
these?
So he's asking what percentage of the saddle market is custom?
If you're talking in the percentage of the 12%, I would say that probably a quarter of that would be custom saddles. So there's also a difference between custom and collector saddles.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how has the sales been for do you stay pretty busy? Have you kind of had more orders than you can handle, or felt like that's the main reason for expansion?
That is.
So just
Yeah.
the question was, how have you been able to keep up with the demand, and how's there been continual orders coming in?
I have a 2-year wait list, and I've closed it at 2 years because I'm scared to book out any farther than that. And so it also keeps people interested in wanting to book with me because they know that it's not just a sale of an actual physical product, it's an experience. And when it's custom, they have a lot of input into the design. Often there's a story to the saddle. And so it's an experience and a feeling, and that's what's most important to me in the product that I make.
Nice. Yeah. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Nikki. While Ian's getting set up, I'd like to introduce a couple of our judges. Sorry. Oh yeah, sorry, Nikki, we'll need you over there. First off, we have Chris Hoffus. If you want to say a quick word about yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chris Hoffus. I'm a business major I'm from Estevan originally, but went to school in Saskatoon. I work as a financial advisor now, but had some past experiences pitching myself and being a judge in prior competitions in Saskatoon. So when I got asked to help with this, I was honored and jumped right to it. And yeah, just happy to help with the experience and see some very good pitchers and good entrepreneurs tonight.
Hi, I'm Andrea Brady. I'm the general manager with Community Futures Sunrise. Community Futures is based in Weyburn, but we kind of work with the whole southeast part of the province. We provide entrepreneurs with loans, advice, and support. And I like to say that we take people who have great ideas and help them turn them into great businesses. So I'm really honored to be here again. I was part of the first pitch competition, and I'm honored to be here again tonight to hear all these great stories and see what becomes of them. Thank you.
And last on the computer is Wes Cates. Unfortunately, like Gord was alluding to, he was unable to join us due to the weather today. That's classic Saskatchewan April. So, but he's joining us virtually. We're doing the best we can to make a good job of it. But yeah, anyway, Ian, if you're ready, I'll get your stuff set up and we can go from there. Sure.
Hello, judges. My name is Ian Dunham. I have a contractor friend that works in concrete, and a large percentage of his work are concrete stamps. Concrete stamps mimic the look of elaborate stone and wood walkways. There's only one problem with these. Each concrete stamp costs $5,000, and you need 10 to 12 stamps per pattern. Seems like a steep startup cost, but contractors all over the world are paying these steep prices. Now, you get the same generic stamps as everybody else, and you still have to pay this high price. So you can customize them if you buy a 5-gallon pail of polyurethane and create your own molds. But the problem is they're not any cheaper than the pre-molded ones, and you have the risk of them failing. Our solution, we plan on building a large-scale 3D printer and be able to print the individual concrete stamps. This isn't as far-fetched as it seems. There's a type of material called TPU. It is a rubberized plastic designed for 3D printing. After listening to my friend complain about these steep prices, I wondered if it could be used as a replacement. TPU happens to stand for thermopolyurethane and is only about $30 a roll, and you can probably print a meter by meter square, by my estimations, for $200 to $300 with a healthy profit margin and unlimited customization. "3D printing has the market evaluation of 23 to 30 billion. It is projected to grow to 130 billion by 2035. We plan to get our foot in the door with a fraction of this market share. So this is the printer that I'm looking at, and the guy standing on the printer is Ivan Miranda. He's a Spanish YouTuber, and he builds big 3D printers. You can buy his files online for $30. You can print most of the parts on a regular 3D printer. You just need a bit of hardware and a bit of code, and you have yourself a large-scale printer. Well, this is what happens when you try memorizing it all. Yeah, you can assemble the printer and be a cash-forward business, and you'll be able to build the whole printer for $4,000. And I believe that you'd be able to make the first print and be able to pay for the whole thing with the first print, and you'd be a cash-forward, debt-free business. I'm in communication with the #1 concrete contractor in Weyburn. And that's my friend. He's the owner-operator of Rack and Rude Construction. And I'm currently in contact with the former #1 concrete contractor in all of Weyburn. And they both see a huge benefit to having this service available and having this machine locally. They both believe that it could easily bring in an extra 50% revenue in new concrete products. Who's my competition? I'm going to say that the Venn diagram is pretty small for someone who has electrical knowledge, 3D printing knowledge, and knowledge about concrete stamps. I have all three, and I know I have what it takes to get this project off the ground. Now, why us? Working closely with Rack and Rude Construction will have local market dominance, specialized knowledge, customer intimacy, a fast feedback and iteration loop, and will be a local Saskatchewan company that will be able to service companies worldwide. Our team consists of Travis Paxman. He's a computer repair tech, and he handles all of our IT-related issues. Myself, Ian Dunham, journeyman electrician, lead operator, facility owner. We both have a combined experience with 3D printing of 15 years. We have a combined plastic manufacturing experience of 20 years. These are our projections. We hope to have 1 customer a month for the first year with 1 printer, and we plan to add a printer every year to the fleet. The nice thing about 3D printing is the automation. The most employees will need is 2. These numbers are based off of 100 grand yearly salary. Our ask. Now, if you're gonna start 3D printing, high ticket concrete stamps, you need to get really good at 3D printing. I've been printing for 8 years now, and I've been currently trying to grow a high-end 3D printer farm. This is what it takes to get it done. We are looking for $4,000 to $20,000 to get started. Thank you.
Perfect. Great presentation.
Thank you.
How long have you been working as an electrician for?
Since 2010.
Since 2010. Gotcha. And then do you know in Saskatchewan who has the largest 3D printer as of right now?
In Saskatoon, they have one that's 9 feet tall, and they're printing campers with it.
Oh, okay.
And they buy the base, and then they print the whole shell, and they set it on top.
I see.
Yeah.
And then do you know anyone else that has built a 3D printer using 3D printers?
Just Ivan Miranda, and that's it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. And when did you find him on YouTube?
Yeah, yeah.
Was it years ago or?
A couple years ago, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, about the same time I heard about concrete stamps.
Gotcha. And then my last question would just be, besides your friend with the construction company there, have you talked to anybody else that would be in the market for that kind of service?
Yeah. So I also talked to the former #1 contractor in town who does a lot of concrete. And yes, he sees huge benefits to it. Got a bunch of ideas for new products, customized products. A lot of big farmers, if you could put their last name in their driveway, they would love that. So,
Thank you.
yep.
Hi, great presentation. The TPU is the
Yes, yeah.
the product?
Yeah.
How resilient is that? Like, how long does it last?
So a big thing with 3D printing in general is the infill. So you can decide to how much infill you have in there. That is the structure inside of the print. And if you go 100%, it is like rock almost. So you can, and yeah, you can step on them all you want and it won't deform them at all. I printed a small sample size and yeah, they're very strong.
So it would be your intention to print these as strong as you can then? So they would last?
I think you want to have some flexibility with it so you can peel them off and you can remain the concrete intact. There is a setting you can do for the outside layers to be thicker, and I think I would go with that.
Okay. Just curious, if you were to make a stamp, how long would it last? And is that concrete contractor going to need a replacement down the road, or is it sort of a one-time purchase?
I'm thinking that it would be a lifetime warranty, and we would be able to just give them a full refund and print a new one for them.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Wes? You might have to come closer. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. With the 3D printing or the smaller 3D printers that you're creating the larger one with, what's your advantage for doing it that way? Does it make it more cost effective? And then is this something that you're looking to have some mobility with this printer?
I'm having my room full of just regular high-end printers. That will be the cash flow for this big 3D printer project. And it'll be able to fuel the project and get it going and off the ground.
So what's the advantage gain to basically going this route through creating it yourself as opposed to, I guess, purchasing a 3D printer of scale or that you would need?
There doesn't happen to be a large commercial printer without paying tens of thousands of dollars. This one you can build for $4,000, and it's a lot cheaper, and then you could be making money faster.
And then, so how many do you think you could, or I guess how many casts can you make a day? So because you're making a concrete mold, correct? So,
Right.
like, are you basically however many they want to order, and then how long would it take to, I guess, fill a order typically? How many can you make with this 3D printer, say, in a day?
I think you could make one stamp per day.
Okay.
In a 24-hour period at running all night, I think you could print one in a day. I obviously haven't built it yet, but I'd like to see the real world numbers for how long it takes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thanks. Thanks, guys.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Ian. So I'll just give you guys a little bit of a background on what we're doing with the program. So we tried to make it a 7-week program where we would try and teach things like your validation, your ideal customer, things like that, to try and help entrepreneurs from across Southeast Saskatchewan to really understand what they're doing and what they're building. So what's really kind of cool about, I guess, what we're doing is we have the rural perspective on it. I've been in incubators up in Saskatoon. Heidi, who also helps, she's been in, how many now? 3? More than 2. But she's been across in like the cultivator out of Regina. And so we've kind of taken the experiences that we've had and tried to put a rural spin on it, make it a little bit more virtual, try and make sure that it's in hours that everyone can handle. I bet you all of our entrepreneurs work a second job, so it's not like they can just pick up and join us midday. So yeah, the big goal of what we're doing is we want to find more companies to kind of work with us and come into the next pitch competition as well as the mastermind class. So what we can hopefully learn from this is that we are building for the future, but if you have any entrepreneurs, send them our way. And I think our next presentation is ready. So I will hand the mic off, and Jill, you can come on up.
Tansei. Hey Wes, how's it going? My vision is simple: to preserve Indigenous culture through innovative technology. Over the past year, I've started beginning that vision and bringing that to life. Mafili Rasad means my daughter's beads. This is for her, this is for my ancestors, and this is for the next generation. Beading is more than an art. It's a story, identity, language, and connection. Access to that knowledge is not always easy. Many youth in rural and remote communities are disconnected from traditional teachings or don't have consistent access to learn. Over the past year, I didn't just sit with an idea, I went directly into the community. That's where my work comes in. I'm building a beading app that blends traditional knowledge with digital innovation in a cultural, respectful way. Designed for youth, educators, communities, it preserves tradition while empowering Indigenous youth to carry teachings forward. This is no longer just an idea. In partnership with Southeast College computer science students, we've developed a prototype where users can create their own digital beadwork patterns. This is a foundational step shaped by real community engagement and feedback. Users can design patterns while engaging with teachings, stories, and culture, creating a space to learn and reconnect, creating a space where they can express their cultural creativity in a modern and meaningful way. People are already engaging with this app in my workshops, and I've been able to observe how they can interact with it and what excites them about it and how it can continue to grow. I'm launching my website by the end of the month, bringing all aspects of my work into one central space. Through the website, people will be able to learn more about workshops directly. The next phase is developing e-commerce to offer beading kits supporting hands-on learning alongside the digital app. Together, this creates a connection, a platform where people can learn, create, and engage both digitally and in person. This opens the door to growing beyond local communities with a goal of reaching nations and going international. This year, I've grown beyond the app. Through workshops and public speaking, I've connected with people across communities, in classrooms, and at events. I have steady bookings, upcoming presentations, and a viable product already being sold at markets. I've generated revenue with over 1,500 beading kits sold in just under a year. I continue to invest in this project and in my own learning to build something sustainable. I am an elder in training. I think I missed a slide there. So I also recognize this work must be done in a good way. The next phase is about enhancing cultural content, not just expanding features. I will work with Indigenous knowledge keepers and elders for guidance, ensuring it's shared with respect and care. Following proper protocol and offering honorariums, recognizing the responsibility this knowledge deserves. This work has shown me something important. People don't just want to learn, they want to connect. They're looking for culturally meaningful, accessible, and modern ways to express who they are. And that's exactly what I'm building. Through public speaking, workshops, and hands-on teachings, I've worked with youth, students, and community members. I've seen the excitement when they create their first piece and the pride that comes with it. But I've also seen the gaps where access to digital tools and culturally grounded learning is still missing. What this work has shown me is that when technology is used with intention, it can become a bridge, not a barrier. With continued support, I will grow this platform further, expanding access, strengthening cultural content, and reaching more communities. This funding will support the continued development of the app, computer science students, and its cultural foundation. This began with the vision, and today it's becoming a living, growing platform. This is for the people. This is for community. This is for education. This is for computer science students. This is for our youth. Before I finish, I want to show you exactly who this is for. If you've been a part of my journey, I invite you to come forward and stand with me right now. It's supposed to be music. Thank you, everyone. There was supposed to be a really, really heartfelt song that played during that, but you guys got the moment. Y'all felt it, I hope.
Perfect. Hi, perfect, it's working. That was a great presentation, very good ending. Have you done that before, like showcased who you've kind of helped in previous, when you're trying to get the idea across kind of thing?
I might have practiced this a couple times.
Sharon, that's totally fine. It was very well done.
This is my daughter here.
Perfect. That's all good. What's your biggest profit margin in the business? Is it doing the workshops? Is it selling the bead kits?
Right now, my most viable product is the beading kits, but hopefully that will change once we launch and market this app.
Yep.
So I've made a $14,000 sale in just one sale,
Okay. And what's
and
a
that's beading kits.
what's a bead kit cost you, and what does it cost the consumer?
So a beading kit, basically there can be anywhere from a 75% profit on one beading kit. It really depends on the type of style design, what kind of project that they want. So the profit margin is really, really good. The cost is very low and the profit's good because there's lots of overhead prices that go into it right now. And right now those overhead prices are just in my kitchen and living room.
Yeah, gotcha.
So that's why it is that way. But yeah, it's a really, really good. And also it's more affordable for people to get those beading kits in bulk because the supplies is inexpensive and then it's even less when you order in bulk.
And have you had anybody just from different cultures take an interest in beading or check out one of the workshops or purchase a bead kit?
Yes, my workshops are delivered and they are a welcoming setting to Indigenous people and non-Indigenous people. I teach everybody and I get everybody coming to my workshops all the time. I've even sold beading kits and had interest in my app from Brazil to Hong Kong.
Very impressive. Great presentation. Thank you.
Yes, excellent presentation. How many workshops have you, I don't need an exact number. How many workshops or teaching, learning opportunities have you provided, say, in the last year?
Oh, I'm averaging 1 to 2 a month. So you will say 1 a month, but some I do 2. It depends if there's a thing going on that's
Okay.
like, yeah.
And where do you do these at? Like, and I'm assuming probably more local to here, not a great distance.
So actually my workshops can be done anywhere all over the world. So where I've been doing them in person is throughout Saskatchewan. I've done them at Whitecap First Nations in Dakota Dunes, and I've done them here at the college. I've done them for Estevan Art Galleries. I went to Weyburn Canadian Mental Health Association and done them there. I love doing the in-person workshops, but yes, like I said, they're done all over the world because those beading kits come with that QR code. You open it up, you scan it, and then it has a comprehensive step-by-step video tutorial. And those beading kits are being sold everywhere. So
Awesome. So can your workshops be done virtually then? Or?
yeah, like that's the whole idea of the tutorials is. And me virtually, like live, that's what you mean? Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. I've done it once already, but I would love to do it more.
Awesome. Okay. Where do your products come from? Where do you source them from?
I try my best to source all my supplies locally and Indigenous owned.
So within Canada?
Absolutely within Canada. There's one thing that I get from Amazon, and to be honest, I don't know where that comes from, but
Nobody
you gotta
does.
do what you gotta do to get what you need, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have any struggles with sourcing materials?
I have struggles with making sure I'm sourcing some authentic materials. I like to make sure I'm using land-based materials and just real materials wherever I can, like real hide, real porcupine quills. And we got to make sure that it's harvested respectfully. So doing that research, making sure I know who I'm getting from and making sure that they're harvesting it respectfully is very important to me in what I do.
So relationship development.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Wes, go ahead.
Yes, really nice touch at the end of that presentation there. I was going to ask, over the last year, how much growth in the business do you think you've had? Or have you put a number on it or a percentage?
I would say I've grown about, I want to say like 60% more. I am doing monthly presentations. People are seeking me. They're coming to me. They're asking me to come to their events and present for them, tell my journey, my story. I'm getting really nice honorariums to do that. And they like, it's really beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. And I really, really enjoy doing that. I'm getting orders. People are emailing me for my beading kits. But most importantly, they want to know when I'm releasing my app. I'm getting bombarded with questions. When can we use the app? When can we start using it? So thankfully now I've released it to people in my classroom settings and let them start using it to get feedback. But yeah, I just really need to get this app on the market. People want it.
That was actually going to be my next question. Is you said you were close to launching the app. What do you think you need to kind of get it off the ground? So you actually have it like available for a few people to sample. How's the feedback been with them?
The feedback is good, but they need better features so we can be competitive. So what I need to do to launch it on the market is I need one more round with these computer science students so they can do the applied research to make sure we can get it on the market. So we need to figure out how can we market this and launch it and make sure it's accessible across all devices. And so, yeah, that's our next phase. But most importantly, while their computer science students are doing that during the next phase, I'm going to be out there attending cultural events and enhancing the cultural content on the app, because that's what's so important, to make sure we can connect beginners, disconnected Métis girls like me, with expert beading artists, people who have the knowledge and the stories. Like I said, I'm an elder in training, and I really want to make sure I get all that knowledge so we can carry it forward.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Jill. Okay, our next presenter is Morgan Walter. She actually is in Texas right now. She's going to school there. So we have it pre-recorded, so we'll show that for you. We're just going to take a quick 5-minute break while I get that all set up. So if anyone has to go to the bathroom or anything, about 10 after on the clock, we'll get back started and we can go from there. Perfect. So we're going to be getting started with our next presentation. Like I said, this is Morgan Walter. So this was recorded yesterday. So hopefully we don't have any technical glitches, but yeah, we'll go from here.
Okay, well, first off, my name is Morgan Walter, and I am the co-founder of...
Apologies, we already had a technical issue.
Okay, well, first off, my name is Morgan Walter, and I am the co-founder of Her Softball Hub, where heart, empowerment, and resilience build champions. At Her Softball Hub, we're all about developing the holistic athlete, not just in skills, but also in confidence. And we're all trying to enhance the holistic athlete and really try to empower all these young athletes that we're working with. All right, so a little bit about myself. My name is Morgan Walter, originally from Estevan. I grew up playing softball competitively, and then I decided to go ahead and pursue my college career. So I did so after graduation. I went and played Division II softball in North Dakota, and then went on to actually play in Nebraska. When I was in Nebraska, unfortunately, I encountered an injury that prohibited me from playing the game. But you know what? After that injury, I just changed my outlook on what my life was going to be like. My identity wasn't solely revolved around me as an athlete, but I was going to now try to change softball for the better and try and give back. And so that's where I really started my coaching career. And so I took a position in Texas, and so I was the student assistant director of operations and manager for the to pursue my master's degree in sport management, which has all helped me to want to start my own business, which is Her Softball Hub. So our mission statement is, at Her Softball, we're all about trying to develop strong, skilled, and confident female athletes through elite instruction, mental performance training, and strong community connections. So we're not just focusing on skills, but rather, like I said, we're focusing on the whole athlete when it comes to leadership, confidence, and building those community connections. So the problem that we saw was that there's a lack of training, there's underexposure, a very amount of shortage of coaches, excuse me. A lot of female athletes experience burnout and fatigue. There's just not an amount of resources that these athletes need in order to be successful. So what we've seen is that the talent is there, but the opportunities do not exist, which is why we created Her Softball Hub. And so we designed our pillars to basically suit our ideal customer, which happens to be, athletes aged 8 through 18, along with their families who are looking for affordable and accessible training resources that they can access anywhere at any time. So with our pillars, we have Her Online, which is all of our digital drills, videos, and resources that not only individual families and players can use, but also teams and coaches and associations can use to help enhance these athletes. Her Squad is all of our group and team training. Her Mindset will be all of our mental performance training, because we know how important the mental side of the sport is, especially in a world where we live with mental health. And Her Spotlight, which is all of our premier showcase and tournament events. So as we continue to grow, we obviously have a plan for where we want to be in the future, of course. And so we plan to develop into a few more of our pillars, which is going to be Her League, which is high performance, our high performance athlete program. We plan to bring teams down to the United States to be able to compete at a very high and competitive level. Her Pathway is all about the support through the recruiting process and making sure that those athletes have the support that they need while they try and pursue their college career. And then Her Recovery is all about making sure that those athletes have a safe recovery and return to sport post-injury. So our business model, basically our revenue streams are pretty simple. We got 3 main ones. We got our training sessions and camps. That's going to be our primary revenue. Our app and online platforms. So this is going to be for like our Her Online. Athletes and families can buy memberships to, utilize our subscription and all the resources that are provided online for them. And then eventually down the road, hopefully some merchandise and branding products as well. And so I feel that these main revenue streams give us a great opportunity to not only scale in person, but online and digitally as well. So our team is made up of a few people. Obviously, all these people are, wanting to give back. They're all great coaches and leaders who are committed to helping take these athletes to the next level. Not pictured here are 11 other assistant instructors who are actually all former players of mine who have stepped up and have taken on the role of an instructor who are going to help us really enhance these training development and sessions for our athletes. So the market opportunity here is obviously fast pitch is growing at a very national level, and there's tons of females that are beginning to participate in all levels of sport now. And as we all know, we live in a world where everything is done digitally now, so all the digital platforms are becoming more and more popular, which just leads us to our opportunity of, it's an accessible tool. We have a flexible training as well as digital learning, and once again, this is all about female empowerment, trying to really enhance the overall holistic athlete development for these female athletes. So the market size is actually 68% of Canadian youth participate in sport, and only a very small fraction of them actually have something that is structured development. And so obviously with us competing or us wanting to expand across a national level, the market gap happens to be that there actually isn't, with high cost and the lack of recruiting, there isn't enough resources for these athletes to take their game to the next level. We're stuck on a very small level, and so with Her Softball Hub, we can take this to the next level and provide affordable and accessible training resources for these athletes. And so obviously we have a plan for where we want to be through 5 years. We plan to launch a digital training and recruiting platform. We want to build our subscription-based revenue, of course. We plan to partner with some travel teams, some showcases, and even post-secondary programs, and eventually expand across Western Canada. But all in all, what we want to do first and foremost is So with this $20,000, what our plan for it is, obviously we're going to use it for our app development, our content creation for that app, marketing, operational costs, and just to try and impact as many athletes as we can and provide as many resources as possible. I feel that with this $20,000, it'll allow our business to scale faster and reach many more athletes way quicker than we could ever without it. And so Thank you for listening to my presentation. At Her Softball Hub, we're not just building skilled female athletes, we're trying to build confident and young, empowered women. So I appreciate you listening to my conversation, and I welcome any questions.
What stage are you at right now, Morgan? Like with the app and everything, have you started any sort of development on it already?
Actually, so where we're at in terms of the development is still just in the very much the planning phase of it. So we're in the process of collecting a lot of videos and resources that we're going to be able to put into the app. And we're also exploring, which route to go in terms of, do we look at developing our own app, or do we look at, using an already, existing app, but putting our own kind of twist on it and adding our own resources to it. And so with the app, that's where we are. But with the rest of our business, we have a bunch of camps up and running, and lots of training opportunities that are coming in the future. So
I guess I can ask the next question. I was just wondering, as far as your camps and your tournaments go, do you have like a kind of core group of cities or region that you're kind of focusing on, or where you're already participating?
yeah, so right now our focus is mainly on the southeast rural area because that's where a lot of our connections are, of course, but that's also where we see the demand for, these types of camps and clinics. So we're focusing more on the rural area. And so, in and around Estevan, Weyburn area, but eventually we plan to spread all the way across Saskatchewan if we can to obviously reach as many athletes as possible. I feel with the app, of course, it could be, people from all over the place, obviously using this app, hopefully, all across Canada or maybe even spread into the United States. But more so for our camps right now, our main focus is impacting those athletes that are, close to, home for us right now.
And you mentioned tournaments in the U.S. Where do you go now, and how do you guys fund getting the teams to them currently?
Yeah, you bet. So actually, we're in the process of putting together our plans for our trips to the United States. And so we hope to bring down 3 teams in the United States this fall. And so there's going to be funding through a couple of ways. We're obviously going to search for some sponsorship to help cover or ease the cost for some of our athletes. But then also there'll just be a cost in some of the families when it comes to obviously their travel and, their accommodations and such. But for the most part, we're going to seek some sponsorship. And then the others might just be I guess a cost to travel and all of that.
Morgan, you mentioned a subscription base. What's your subscription fee?
Right. We haven't exactly totally figured out what the subscription fee is going to be. Obviously, that is going to, vary on what resources we end up putting all in there. But, if, just thinking off the top of my head and some thought that we put into it a little bit is if we have all these resources in our app, including practice plans for teams and coaches and drill library and, access to, one-on-one support from our coaches, there's going to be probably like a monthly fee that the parents can or families can pay subscription where it's at a discounted price as well. And so we haven't figured out exactly, what the cost of all that is going to be, because that may determine or maybe based off of, what app, which route we choose to go for our app development.
And do you have sort of any numbers in terms of your target audience?
Yeah, a little bit. So we plan to try and target, I guess, for camps wise, we try to target for approximately 20 camps over a summer season. But then in terms of the winter, it's going to quiet down a little bit. But hopefully, with obviously us being able to ride this year round, we can try and I guess hope to do 2 to 3 camps a month. And then in terms of how many users we're looking to use our app, ideally starting out, I would love 75 to 100 users, but eventually grow from there and I guess take it as far as we can get it.
Morgan, are you just with about everything in the world now? Like, if you want to learn how to do something, it seems like everybody starts with YouTube or ChatGPT and kind of goes from there. Are you worried about just any of the free options that might already exist? I will say from personal experience, when I do get a subscription or start paying for something that I'm trying to learn or grow at, it does make me do it more and like feel obligated to practice and do more. So I don't think there's anything wrong with the subscription. Just there seems to be an unbelievable amount of training material in almost every field nowadays.
Right. No, absolutely. And it has been definitely something that we've considered because we all know how easy it is to, go to chat and, ask for whatever various drills, whatever. But I believe because of the experience that we have as instructors and as what our instructors have, lots of college experience, lots of college coaching experience playing at a very high level. If we're able to sell ourselves for what we have to offer and who we are and why we're doing what we're doing, I'm really not concerned because I feel like people are going to want to be able to learn from, people like role models of their kids. So,
Nope, that sounds good. Very good presentation, by the way. You're a very confident public speaker.
well, thank you. Appreciate that.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that kind of covers everything with that one. So, Alan, I guess you're up. This will be the last pitch of the night, and then the judges will go deliberate. Yeah, good luck, Alan.
Yep. Okay. Okay. Well, my name is Alan Nixon with Revelation Engineering, and we have been working on an innovation in wind power. It's been said that power generation is the next arms race, with more devices coming online every single year, be it from AI to electric cars. There's an ever-growing demand for power. And while renewables may not be able to sustain the grid, they're definitely a part of the mix. There are three key issues with traditional wind power that we were wanting to address. Limited wind speed, hazard to wildlife, and maintenance. Dealing with the first one, we've all seen the power that is within wind. Wind has the power to level a house, and yet the amount of power that we're able to extract from the wind is actually extremely small. Traditional wind turbines actually max out at 60 kilometer an hour winds. When the winds exceed that, it actually risks damage to the wind turbine itself. Dealing with the second one, damage to or hazard to wildlife. Birds don't see blades. So our drive for renewable energy has actually created a hazard for these birds. Our drive for renewables has actually created a death trap for these birds. And the third is maintenance. In order to maintain a wind turbine, one needs to either go up in the middle or bring in a crane or probably both. The other thing is the blades themselves. The blades actually wear. They have a tendency to break, or they need to be maintained over their life. And at the end of, or when anything like this happens, one needs to either go up, repair the blades, or they need to replace them. And due to the composites that are used in those blades, they actually need to go into the landfill because they can't be recycled. These are the three issues that we were looking to resolve with our Venturi power unit. Our concept is simple. Wind moves through the device. Their movement through the device creates a pressure differential that is communicated directly to ground, where it's converted into power. It is designed to be solid state at elevation, eliminating the hazard to birds. It is designed specifically with high wind speeds in mind, wind speeds that actually exceed that 60 kilometer threshold that traditional wind turbines max out at. It is designed to be built out of sheet metal or sheet steel, both for ease of fabrication and cost of fabrication and recyclability, so that the entire device is recyclable. We have designed this with maintenance, redundancy, and scalability in mind, with all preventative maintenance being done on ground. We're currently in the research stage of this project. We have created partnerships with NRC and Polytech to establish the principles, the sizing, and the amount of power output that we can get out of this device. We received a grant to get a 3D model printed, complete some real life testing, and actually do some
computational fluid dynamics on the model as well. This has been very insightful. We've actually learned some things about this prototype. We've actually identified some issues with the first initial design that we've been able to build off of. We are at a point in this process where we have a process where we can iterate fast, a path to iterate, fail fast, and move to a finalized product. The team actually consists of myself, a drafting manager, or a drafting project, or a drafting team, as well as a CFD modeler. The process is I review the output of the model. I make design changes. I go to drafting. Drafting makes the changes. It goes into the computer modeling. Modeling runs it through the computer. I review it. It goes back. The cycle repeats. Funds raised in this pitch competition will go directly to this research. For this reason, we're asking for $20,000 to fund our phase 1 research. It should be noted that we qualify for a 4-to-1 research grant with NRC, which means that for every dollar that we put in, NRC will actually put in 4. So if we are awarded the $20,000 in this pitch competition, we will have a budget of $100,000, which will be enough to fully fund our phase 1 testing and move us into our full-scale demo, which is our phase 2. We'll be looking for, in phase 2, we'll be looking for an industry partner that is interested in owning and operating our pilot project. We will be looking to de-risk this pilot project through Innovate Sask. We have 2 to 3 monetization paths for this technology. The first will be the actual sale of the install, and will be the sale of the install. And the second will be maintenance and service of it. We are estimating that the pilot project will be able to produce 0.5 megawatt for an install cost of $2 million. Longevity, though, is where this technology really shines. It should be noted that our pilot project is a little bit more expensive for an install cost than a traditional wind turbine when it comes to dollars per megawatt, but longevity is where this technology really shines. When you spread this out over the 25 years of a wind turbine, the two are actually quite comparable. But the big difference comes at the 25-year mark. After 25 years, a traditional wind turbine is actually at its end of life, and all of the parts actually need to be replaced. Whereas with ours, because our power head unit is entirely solid state, I have no doubt that our power head will have a lifespan greater than 25 years. Our goal with this technology is to generate power where it is not otherwise possible. Wind is a largely untapped resource, and we aim to change that. Thank you for your consideration.
Hello? Okay, there we go. Thank you. Very well done. Couple questions. You mentioned some industry partners is sort of your, would be a goal down the road. Have you talked to any or reached out to?
I have had some conversations with, I think it was Enbridge when they were at the innovation conference here this last fall. They were really interested in the technology. One of the interesting things with this technology is because it's solid state, it's actually able to go in places where a traditional wind turbine can't. Because of the spinning blades, there's actually zoning issues that you run into, because if a blade breaks loose, it can't be landing on anyone's house. Because ours is entirely solid state, now there's a whole pile of applications where this type of technology would actually work.
You haven't mentioned anything about the sound that it makes. I know traditional wind turbines, there's a real concern about infrasound. Is that something that you've tested or looked at?
We haven't looked at it, but one of the things that we need is the wind to actually move freely through the device, which means that there's not going to be any minimal restriction through the device. I'm not sure necessarily what the sound impact will be to this. We are going to be looking largely at high wind speed applications where you should also be out of that being an issue. So one of the things that we are targeting is 200K wind applications too, where nothing is able to touch that kind of application. And there are places in the mountains and other areas that actually see those types of winds on a regular basis, which are outside of where people are populated too. So.
if they're lucky. Um, Does this need the same infrastructure as a typical wind turbine? And in terms of height, are you looking at like a 600 and 700 foot high tower, like typical traditional turbines?
We are looking at a similar height. The other thing too is that we can also go higher than a traditional wind turbine could too, because one of the problems that traditional wind turbines have is that because they need a certain amount of wind, but as you get higher and higher, wind speeds actually accelerate. So when you get higher, you actually start running into issues of the upper threshold of some of those wind turbines as well. So our zoning, or where we could potentially install this, actually goes higher, and in places where traditional wind turbines can't touch that. How high we're going to go, I'm not necessarily sure. That comes down to detailed design and siting and getting in doing wind analysis and all of that.
So you're making this for commercial industrial application rather than the one-off where the
Yes.
farmer wants a turbine?
Yes, yeah, we're looking for larger, higher wind speeds is kind of what we're trying to tap into places where there is no wind wind's not viable because the winds are too high. There's too much power there. That's what we want to capture.
Right. Thank you.
My question would be, do you know what the traditional wind turbine costs right now just to build and like put in, like, let's say I'm a farmer and I want one of those on my land,
Yes.
compared to an estimate of what yours would cost?
Yes, the estimated per cost for over 25 years, per megawatt, it's $4.1 million for a traditional wind turbine
Okay,
per megawatt.
perfect.
Per
And
megawatt, yeah.
my other question was just the original idea. Where did that come from?
The original, I've been looking for ways that would deal with these three issues that I identified. I've been trying to solve this for probably about 10 years and looking for any kind of way in which wind was acting. And I noticed that wind was actually drawing down, was able to move water when it was under air movement. So I was trying to figure out ways to increase the amount of air movement over port like that. And that's where we ended up coming up with this idea.
Yeah, okay. My last question would be, do you know where the most wind turbines are, either in Canada or North America, like geographically where they are?
I don't know that off the top of my head, but I do know that there are a number of places that wind turbines can't touch.
Okay.
And that's kind of what I was trying to touch was what I'm looking at is like the Chinook winds that come off the mountains. I'm looking at, there's a place in Nova Scotia or New Brunswick called House Wreck or something like that. There's a place where they will regularly see like 250K winds, such that you can't build a house there because they'll get blown over by the wind. So.
Gotcha. Thank you. Great presentation.
Yeah, I just was curious as far as the manufacturing. Have you looked into, one, who can manufacture your product, and two, how much it costs to manufacture and install? I mean, I'm not talking about the life of it, but just to manufacture and install as in comparison to a wind turbine.
This is one of the things that I was actually been thinking about because manufacturing is kind of my background. I'm thinking the way that I'm currently thinking to manufacture this is to laser cut or plasma cut out a frame, and then you can actually jig that up and just bend sheet metal around that and weld it in place. So we're able to manufacture it in smaller pieces that are able to be then shipped out, or there's multiple different ways that we can do it, but I have designed this with fabrication in mind. That is one of the things that I have in mind, is trying to simplify fabrication and so that we can mobilize it. So.
And then what, I guess, can it scale up to, well, I was thinking more about sizing. What would be an optimal height in your mind for this turbine, or what, yeah.
It all depends on the wind power, or the wind speeds. I want to get into a wind speed that's going to be ideal for where I'm able to maximize the amount of power output and put it there. One of the things that has been in mind with this technology is is actually a retrofit on a burnt out turbine. I actually, in mind is that one on fire right there. Is, you know, you have a power head that's been burnt down, and you can take one of these units and you can mount it right on top. And it's a retrofit on an existing design, on an existing structure. So it's designed to kind of go wherever we can go. What exactly is the ideal height? I'm not 100% sure at this point.
So basically, you're just looking to be able to retrofit your turbine in place of the windmill of a wind turbine.
That's one option. That is one option. That is one option. There are multiple different ways that we could go about doing this. And specifically, like one of the things with the 200K winds is that some of those 200K winds can actually be seen close to the ground where you're in those high wind speed locations. And if that's the case, like, why mount it high, right? If you're getting the wind speed at a low elevation, then just put it right there, right? If you're getting the high wind speeds at higher elevation, then put it there. So.
And then last question, do you have like a patent, or are you in the process of getting a patent on your intellectual
I have a
property?
patent on this. I received a patent last month. I received a patent on this technology last month. So it is already patented in the US and Canada.
Nice. Thank you. Good job.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Alan. So yeah, that concludes the pitches for the night. The judges are going to convene, spend some time discussing. For right now, I think, Gord, if you could kind of give a little bit of a talk about the previous pitch and kind of some updates. Yeah.
Only thing is, Alan, you didn't tell the true story, how he came up with the idea of the judges like, go, 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 go. So he was in the bathroom and he turned around and he flushed the toilet and he saw the water go down the drain and he went, wind power, right? This is what happened. This is the story I heard. Right, Daniel? You told it on the radio. Oh, no, that was me. So why are we here? How did we get here? What's this all about? So actually yesterday kind of closed the loop. So the reason why, well, the community created the Techhub, but the reason why I got involved in it, it was one of the first pitch competitions that I'd ever judged. And it was grade 8 kids from St. Mary's. And there was these 2 young women. They took the soil moisture sensor from a farm and they put it in their pot plant. I can never say this right. I always get the story wrong. They put it in their pot plants, but what I mean is their household pot plants, and they put it in that. And then they hooked it up to, like, Bluetooth it to Arduino that went to Alexa. So when you came home one day, you would simply say, hey, what plant do I need to water? And it would say, go water that plant, right? And there's a guy who kills plants all the time. But I thought it was not just innovative, like what we heard tonight was really cool in tech and innovation, but it's also about business, right? It was, these kids knew something. And then we fast forward and I judged the regional science fair here in Lampman about 3 years ago. And there was these 2 young boys, Wyatt, and I think the other one was Trevor. And they had created a working prototype of a portable irrigation system that you could drag down a grid road or a highway that would open up and it would water a quarter section or a half section of land. And that's not been done before. Like, they got a little portable irrigation system that could do a little bit. So we had our first pitch competition, and I thought, actually, Stephen was pitched here, and we had someone who was pitching drones and fish farm, and they won. And it wasn't because, they didn't just win because, oh, they're cute, they're young kids. They won because they deserved it. Though Stephen and I were remembering it took about an hour and a half for the judges to figure it out. And then fast forward to yesterday, they had the next regional science fair, and I was asked to judge. And I went to judge, and with a bunch of people, the last 2 blew me away. First was, so we're doing cold hydrogen. You're turning cold to hydrogen. You get CO2, you sell it to Whitecap, you get money, everyone's happy. But there's another way to do hydrogen is you put electric current through water, H2O, splits the hydrogen from the water, and you get hydrogen, or Yeah, hydrogen from the oxygen, and you get water. Well, this grade 10 kid realized if you put iron in the water, it rusts. What's rust? Iron oxide, iron plus oxygen. When you do that, you loosen the bond on the hydrogen, so you get hydrogen. Then when you put electricity through it, because you got iron and water together, it's more electroconductive, more electricity will travel through it. So it's more efficient to get hydrogen. So he was pumping out hydrogen at this higher level from water. And we have a company that we're working with, a German company, scientist. I called up the guy and I said, do people do this? He's like, no. A grade 10 kid. I'm not sure where he was from, maybe Oxbow or Cardiff. And then the next one was this young girl again, or woman, grade 10, and she had spent the whole winter, she had heard that Calgary mixes beet juice with salt, and then somewhere else, I think it was Manitoba, mixes molasses with salt. And she said, well, isn't the goal to get salt out of the de-icer? So she spent all winter combining different concentrations of beet juice and molasses and then spraying it on her driveway and then taking the temperature and doing, like, she showed me her logbook and it was perfect. It was something that you would see at Sask Poly or U of R or here. Where's Tanya? Yeah, and here too as well. And she spent the whole like 3 or 4 months, and you could show her a graph, and she figured out a perfect formulation that it would work at -30. Right? And I was like, the thing about those two kids is without the Techhub existing, they would have to leave our community to get an education or to do the applied research or to pitch or to learn how to do a business plan. That's the point of what we're doing. It's like those two young women 3 years ago. What dawned on me was at the time the coal mine was supposed to shut down and the community was facing its demise. And it made no sense how you can incubate those children and your community is facing, it just doesn't make any sense. The chancellor of MIT from here, right? You guys have heard me say this stuff. I just found out there's a guy at MIT working on nuclear fusion. He's from here. So the goal of RISE, the goal of Seth, the goal of everything you've seen today is about keeping the youth here so that we can generate jobs and wealth. So that's what you're seeing today, and this was the first time. So with that, why don't we just mingle for a little bit? Last time it took an hour and a half. This time I don't know how long it's going to take. Those are some pretty tough ones. So mingle, the alcohol got stuck in Regina in the snowstorm, true story. So there's some pop, water, and we'll see you in a bit.
Yeah, you can hold them up here.
But it's up in Regina getting some extra work. It would have been amazing to put Wes's head on.
No, it's good. Go ahead.
Perfect. So I guess the judges have came to a decision. I have no idea who has won. So Andrea? Yeah, come on up. Okay. So drum roll, please. Congratulations, Jill. Woo. Do you want to stand over here? Yeah. Do you have anything you want to say? You good?
Thank you. This is cool.
Yeah, you can go up.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Get everyone. Look this way.
Hey, why am I
Look this way. Look this way.
That's a good question.
Big, looking this way. Big smiles. Great.
Oh, sorry.
You done?
Should we do it all at the same time? How do you want to do it? I don't want to look at it. So yeah, I guess the next one, drum roll please. We're gonna go to Morgan Walter. So parents or fiance. So yeah, congratulations. Do you want to be in the picture?
Congratulations. Sure. Congratulations. Good work.
I'll get out of the middle.
This way. Squeeze it. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, and I guess we got one more? One more. Okay. It's plenty. We're keeping. All right, and we have one last one. It's the last big drum roll. Nicole, come on up. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Great work. Yeah,
You can try.
you can try.
You want to go in the middle?
Yeah, go in the
Yeah, you go in the middle. I don't. You're the star of this one.
Perfect. Congratulations, everyone. We'll probably do a group picture after, but yeah. Yeah, I appreciate everyone's time tonight. It was a really good time. All the presenters, thank you so much for everything you gave. To our judges, I really appreciate the time you gave us tonight. I can't imagine that was an easy decision. I had no idea up until the end. So yeah, thank you so much for coming out. And yeah, thanks to the crowd. I guess now we'll take some time to mingle and get some pictures.
Would you guys all be interested in coming up here and taking?
Yeah, let's take a big group picture. Why not? Okay, well, thank you very much. Yeah, all the pictures out in front. Okay, well, thank you very much.
You can take that check to the bank.
Sweet.